And we are live.
Awesome. All right, let's make sure. Is it really live?
I think so.
It is. Okay.
I think. Yep. Okay. I can hear us coming through. Here, say something again, though. I can hear us coming through. Here, say something again, though. I can hear us coming through. Here, say something. I can hear us coming
There
through.
we go.
Here, say something. Okay, cool. I think I might be a little hot. I'll turn myself down.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Well, welcome back to part 3 of Lore Masters Nook, where we are breaking down the campaign and the different episodes. If oh look, is that Myrtle? Myrtle is here.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Man,
welcome.
She beat Scott? She beat Scott? That's awesome.
Is that Scott's better half?
That's Mary. That's the awesome half.
Nice. Nice. Yep. Hey, Mary. Good to see you. Thank you for joining.
Anyway,
where do we leave off?
We're breaking down all the episodes. Gonna try to get caught up tonight if we can, up to the most recent episode, which means we are, in essence, going to run through 8 episodes tonight. We finished on episode 25 on the last Nook. So, episode 26. The party, you guys all came. Oh, that's why Scott's driving the Estonians that they're hosting for that World Folklore Festival. That's awesome.
Oh, nice, very cool, very cool.
So Scott has an excuse. We'll give him a break. So, you guys had upset the tavern keeper in Spirewitch, and through the greatest persuasion roll ever, Lord Kyrus convinced the proprietor, which was also a high-level wizard, to allow you guys to stay as long as you went to bed immediately. The group had to go out and grab Godorak and say, hey, we didn't get kicked out. You can come back in, type scenario.
Gosh, this one feels like ages ago.
Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah. And so, I mean, technically it was May 6th is when we uploaded it. Yep. So that is 2.5 months ago almost, right?
Yeah.
So, while you guys are sleeping, Gally tried to mess around with Kyrus and Nanny, and it kind of failed a little bit. And then as you went down, you talked to the proprietor. He told you that the Duke had a need for adventurers such as yourselves, and you guys went and explored the spire before you headed up to see the Duke, and you met somebody.
Who did we
Brother
meet?
Razband.
Oh yeah, right? That's right. Good old Brother Razband.
Yep. And then you went and sat down and had a meal with the Duke, where he hired you to escort the taxes of the duchy.
That's right.
Take it to the kingdom, and it was a chest full of silver. And the reason he hired you guys, and he's looking, is every time his men try to take it, they get attacked and either killed or flee and come back, and they report of attacks of undead and ghosts and things like that.
That's right.
That as you guys agreed to do it in exchange for pay and everything else.
Kyrus, of course, was hitting on the Lady Duchess.
The Duchess, and he had her very interested in him and very intrigued in him. And that's kind of where you guys left off. It was it was a long episode because of the role playing in the town and doing some stuff down there, and then the role playing of meeting the captain, the Duke, and the Duchess. So there wasn't a ton of action, but there was some amazing role playing that took place at that time. Now, in episode 27, you have ended up leaving the duchy and had driven all day with the wagon. And the wagon had 2 horses, and the chest in the wagon and a few of you rode in the wagon. Others rode your horses, and you were about a day's ride out, where you found a nice area to camp and set up camp. You were immediately, well, not immediately, you guys got situated later on that evening, set upon by some bandits. And the battle was actually going in your guys' favor with the bandits until the Banshee got involved. And
Yeah,
when
that
the Banshee got involved,
Banshee's well is not nice.
yeah, she kind of took you guys down pretty quickly.
She kind of one-shot me, I think, didn't
Yep.
she? Yeah.
She one-shotted several of you with
Yeah.
her well, and that was the tough part. Oh, I forgot to mention in episode 26. At the beginning of that episode, the reason you guys went to Razband and found Razband was they had found out that you were cursed, and you weren't getting able to get short rests and
Is that
long
when
rests.
I got decursed? Nice.
What's that?
Okay. That's when I got decursed, right?
Yep, and Razband was able to take the curse away from you.
Good. That was important.
Yeah, that was the important part. So now you have the chance to get a good night's sleep, and it's interrupted. And so the Banshee ends up kind of beating you up. And then as you guys, Galley recovered. That was the interesting piece. As Galley recovered from the attack is when she got beat up pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point in time, and it's when you guys captured the bandits and tried to interrogate is when she got involved.
Yeah.
And then as you guys started to beat her up, she decided to flee, but she was trying to lead you guys deeper into the woods. And you guys fell for it a little bit. But as you guys started getting deeper into the woods, well, on your way there, you found it's one of the more comedic scenes we've
the
had
windmill
with the group.
Windmill.
You found the windmill, an old rotting windmill where Mintra wants to go for a ride, and he climbs up on the windmill, and I think it was Godorak against his better judgment decided to spin the wheel.
Yeah, because I had hit level something and got my 20 strength or something like that.
Yep. The wheel spun and it flung the gnome Bard off into the air, going whee as he splashed in the water, going head over heels into the water, and that was pretty awesome. And then Nenny tries it, and it actually breaks.
Yeah, I think I broke the wheel.
You broke the wheel as you were trying to spin Nenny. And then the Banshee was patiently waiting to give you more bait, and you guys eventually took it and got up to a cabin where there were some undead. And your guys got extremely kind of hackles raised. It fit everything that the Dukes told you, getting attacked by the undead, all that other stuff. And you guys end up defeating the 4 undead that were there.
Didn't we go back and look in the chest at that point or something?
Yes, you guys looked in the chest and the silver was no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
It was coal.
Mm-hmm.
So you were trying to figure that out. But then once you got down to the cabin, you guys started doing the inspections, looking around the cabin. And in the back of the cabin, you found a pentagram with a protection versus good and evil spell cast upon that, and you were all trying to figure that out. And we ended that episode as you all kind of gone into the cabin and started searching it and figuring things out. And you witnessed, or somebody, I'm trying to remember who, I think it was Timbir Galley. It could have been you, Godorak. I'm not 100% sure. Noticed underneath the bed a set of stairs that went down. And we finished that episode as you guys were going, let's go down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the end of 27. Now we're at the beginning of 28, episode 28.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Theron, Nenny, and Kyra sitting outside. You've got the four of you, Mintra, Galley, Godorak, and Simbir inside the cabin. And eventually you all end up in the cabin and make that decision to go down into the cellar.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what you guys could only assume what it was. But as you go down to the cellar, you notice that it's kind of bigger than the house a little bit, and there was a door, and you guys decided to go out the door, and listening to Nenny and the Nenny's true statement, always go left. You guys went immediately left.
Mm-hmm.
And down the hallway.
I think we pretty much ran into some undead like right away.
Correct, but here's the interesting thing. You guys could have approached this one of two ways. You could have approached it quietly, or as noisy as possible. And you guys chose to approach this as noisy as possible. So the battle, the battle for when we're here, you guys can only think the battle for the cellar, or the under the basement, let's call it that, of the cabin has begun. And it was several undead that kind of ambled up to you guys.
Some cultists.
Nanny wipes them out. You get involved. Godorak gets involved. A lot of people got involved in the battle here with the undead. But it was mainly the undead at the beginning. But as you started to go a little bit deeper, things started looking a little sketchy for you guys. So I'm just kind of getting caught up here on my notes and the kind of the view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking through the old VOD too, and we just kept pushing forward. And Gelly,
you guys kept pushing forward. You ran into and then we lost it. Right, we lost a little bit of the feed.
Did we?
Yep. About 33 minutes in. So as you guys walk into the area, some of the occultists step out and start slinging spells at you. And the reality here, besides the Mummy Lord, you guys really haven't had your experience with spellcasting, right? So it's been a lot of hacking, a lot of chopping wood, so to speak, when it comes up to the bad guys. And so the spellcasters started doing a number on you because you hadn't fought them before and didn't know how to counter or really work together as a group on here. But you end up going through this main hallway and taking out several acolytes and fanatics that way as you go through there. But you guys are expending spell slots pretty drastically while you do this, right? As you're going through, you're fighting, you find an altar. Once you wipe them out, and you kind of peek up where the acolytes came from. You just kind of notice an altar and a prayer, kind of a church, so to speak, right there. that you guys found, and then that's right. So you guys couldn't continue to go that way, and Nenny wouldn't let you. So you continue to go down the hallway left, and you run into more undead.
Yeah, we aggroed like the entire floor, didn't we?
Correct.
Yeah.
You did. You aggroed basically any undead that wasn't in a locked room or a
Right.
closed door. So that's they were just coming at you guys like just a sea of them, right? A lot of undead happened that way. And one of my favorite scenes, I think, took place towards the end of this episode. And as you guys came down the hallway, the hallway went down, Hung left, Galley jumps up on the stairwell.
Yeah.
You guys are still fighting.
And then he opens the door to the next room, right?
Yep, he fights an undead from the top of the stairwell.
Yeah.
He was somewhat, Galley's somewhat squishy.
Yes, but he sticks his face out first, which, yeah.
Correct. He kind of acts like a tank when he's really not.
No.
So it makes it kind of cool that way. Get to where I need it to be. And you guys line up. It's really funny. There's stairwell platform. Galley's on the platform where the stairs are at, and then it's literally Nenny, Spike, Godorak fighting one zombie lined up there. And then
because weren't we being flanked from behind too? And Symbier and
you were
Symbier was taking care of some stuff.
Correct. Symbier and everybody else were fighting up top. This is also when we didn't have Mullins or Win here to play their characters, so it was making it a little bit tough for everybody on that. So I don't think Galley kicked open the door yet on this episode. Now he was actually trying to help you all out with Silvery Beard and stuff, and when you finished that last undead that was down there at the end of that hallway is where we ended episode 28.
Yep.
So really episode 28 was, if you think about it, it was a battle that took 2 hours. That was probably a total of 200 feet that you guys fought through. And if I remember right with the math, it was 10 undead and 4 acolytes.
Nice.
So 14 people you guys ended up going through. Some of you took a beating, some of you didn't. I know Nenny got hit a little bit in that one. Galley was 8, I think only 8 hit points down. He wasn't too squishy yet. But it's what he decided to do at the beginning of it was at the beginning of episode 29.
Well, because 29, then he just took off like, oh, I'm still good to go. Let's go.
Yeah, that's when he decided to kick open a door. Now, and it wasn't like, I'm going to open the door. He flat out, I like him a couple of times. Are you what? Yeah, I kick open the door. Okay. So all the undead have heard the battle outside. There's some spellcasters in there that have been able to guide the undead. And so they kind of position themselves to not all get wiped at once. And he kicks open the door. And you immediately see, what is it, 2, 4, 6, 8 undead and 2 spellcasters in there.
Yeah, something
a priest,
like
that. A priestess, and an acolyte. So that's where Galley realized he's kind of squishy.
Yeah.
Because he ends up going down quickly on this one. He gets hit with a spell or two.
Was
But
was it
noise,
Galley that kicked open the door? Yeah, okay.
yep, it was Galley that kicked open the door. And the noise that was made in all that ruckus caused another acolyte to pop his head out of a door just south of Nenny in that hallway where you guys wiped out the last zombie.
Yeah.
So he pops out and he starts slinging spells at you guys. So now all of a sudden you guys are fighting a two-front battle. You've got Kyrus and Theron and Simbir up top protecting the rear, but there's really nothing going on, so they slowly start to make their way around to help you guys, especially Kyrus. And that's where the battle goes crazy. There was, I mean, at one point in time, Galley had 3 or 4 zombies surrounding him and just using him as a big meat sack, right?
Yeah.
And just thumping on him. And he had held his own pretty okay. But eventually it took you. Yeah, it was you and Kyrus that got up there and yanked him out of the fray, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through the video.
Yeah, you're about 30 minutes in when.
Well, because he was up there a long time. I mean, he hasn't moved from his spot like even 37 minutes in. It looks like.
Yeah, 37 minutes in, he's
still there.
Pumped on. So, and you had more zombies come around the hallway because they heard the ruckus and they finally came around the hallway as well. So again, you guys are locked into this massive battle that's taking place here.
We actually backed out. I think we backed out back kind of into the hallway to kind of almost regroup.
Let me double check that. I think you
did.
Like
right around like an hour. It looks like we were very much backed up because there were acolytes coming from the north.
Yeah, you guys were getting hammered. You guys had made so much noise that you ended up having to fight a two-front battle. And the only way to get out of there was to kind of figure out how to get Galley and get up into that main hallway.
Yeah.
And you ended up getting in there, doing some healing, if I remember correctly. Or you got the door closed.
And dropping some hammers, I think, some spiritual weapons, I think, helped us out.
Yeah, you guys did definitely do that. And that was Mintra that cast those, if I remember correctly.
I think so, something like that.
No, the spiritual hammers were coming from the acolytes.
Oh, okay. So those were bad spiritual hammers. Okay,
those were bad spiritual hammers. It was Kyrus that actually kind of stepped up into the doorway and allowed Galley. So it was Kyrus and Spike that kind of sat back to cover the south and the main room as you guys were trying to back up into the main hallway. And then there was some spells being flung, and to the point Kyrus kind of took himself out of the view and the spell shot area.
Yeah.
And
we cleaned up some more acolytes to the south. We cleaned up the main room, and then Nenny's like, "Okay, let's keep going."
And then finally Nenny's like, "Nah, we got this now," and Nenny came back in. So, and all that kind of happened, and when you got into the room to the south, which was a left door, right? So always go left. And that's where the one room that the acolytes were popping themselves out at you guys and slinging stuff at you. You guys got in, killed another undead, and found the last two survivors from the last wagon train that were in here, and they were being tortured. And that's where Kyrus and company, all of you guys except for Nenny and Simbir, decided to kind of take care of people. Yeah. Galley went off to the room that he kicked the door down going, okay, there's stuff up here. And he started searching around there. Meanwhile, Kyrus still has that now that I think about it, it's foreboding. I love it. I love the foreshadowing here because Kyrus still has that love or the passion to help people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he sees these people beat up. He comes in. I think he's talking with Theron and Mintra,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys are really trying to take care of the people there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Mintra kind of joins the Nanny Simbir show where they go off on their own. And they go back down the hallway you guys came from because Nanny realized you guys missed the door.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a left door. And so Nanny going, hey, we got to go left. That's the craziness
Of our halfling monk.
Of Nenny, right? So we know Nenny's a little crazy, and so that's kind of his little craziness is he always has to go left. And so he goes back up, he opens the door, and he kind of takes a peek around the corner, goes down a little hallway, takes a peek around the corner, and sees some stairs drop down into an area where it literally looks like there is an undead elevator raising up and depositing a bevy. It's the only thing I could say. Just undead stacked on top of each other, just getting deposited and coming out. And he missed. He saw the undead, but he missed the two spellcaster. And so that's where it got a little crazy because as him and Simbir are squabbling, the spellcaster hits Nenny with a command spell.
What was
and
it? Approach?
Nenny fails his saving throw, and the guy tells him to approach.
Yep.
So Nenny goes, cool. And he starts walking forward, and Simbir's like, what are you doing? Right? And all of a sudden, Nenny starts walking forward, and
that's when 29 ended, right?
Yep, and that's his right around there is when 29 ended.
Mm-hmm.
As he walks forward into a bunch of undead. And Simbir is panicking, but he still managed to tell Mintra to go get the others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is where we finished. Oh no, that isn't. Nanny actually took a small beating, broke the spell, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't put yourself in harm's way. Once you're in harm's way, the spell breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Breaks the spell and flees back towards the way. But in that span of time, Mintra had gotten everybody, and Kyrus and Theron and Galley and everybody was about to come in and lay waste to that group.
Mm-hmm.
Which then brings us to our second live episode.
Such a good episode.
Which was episode 30.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's like
with episode 30,
over 6 hours long. That was a great session. Oh, that felt good.
Oh yeah. It was a long session. So I believe it or not, I have not looked at this session. I have not gone back and watched it like I have on the others. And I'm trying to remember why I haven't done that other than I totally forgot to go back and do it.
I may have messed up the sound in the beginning.
Oh, you did, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, learn.
And it was just because we're doing something a little bit different this time as Nick actually looks like he's there with us on that, and that's awesome.
It's too bad we didn't have like a shot of him.
Yeah. So this will let everybody know what happened and the awesomeness of this session. So Sean, aka Galley, is from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And he actually flew into Utah just to join us and play a live session with us.
It was so dope.
So we went out to dinner the night before at a really great place here in Utah, Strap Tank Brewery.
Mhm.
They're not paying me. There's no sponsorship on that, so throwing it out there. If you guys are here, go. There's two
It's
of them in the Utah
yummy.
County area. Good food, good drink, and then we decided we ended up playing at Nenny's house, Scott's house, right, with Nenny and Mary, who's if she's still on. Thank you again,
Yes.
uh, because your house looks beautiful on the stream. Um, and we have Nick, who is in. He plays Mintra and now Xavier. He's in Texas, so Nick is the way we had the room set up. We had my table as the DM. We had the table with the minis, and then we had two other tables that had um, Mullins, Win, and
And
Jew.
me. Yep.
So you go that way, Theron, Kyrus, and Godorak, and then the
Mhm.
other table had Galley, Simbir, and Nenny.
Yep.
And then Nick was with us in spirit, basically, but we had the TV with with his Discord video
Yep.
pulled up on the TV, so it
We
was
had
like he was part of the he was at his own table.
we had
It's
him
pretty
on
awesome.
like a big 42 inch shirt off to the side, like on
Yeah.
a flat screen. Oh, it was good. He
It
was
was
right
good.
there with us. It was pretty
Yep.
awesome.
It was an awesome setup. So um, as we start going, let me see.
So we fought in that little room first. I remember
Correct.
that.
You fought in the little room first.
Uh-huh. Like
All
we
right,
all finally
so-
got over there and kind of like mopped them all up. Didn't
Yep,
we
you
knock
got
the
over there.
elevator down?
Yeah, no, you ended up taking the stairs. So back in the room that
No. Like
the
didn't we
galley
end up
kicked
like
the door open in had the stairs that went down.
didn't we
And
break
this
that
is I'm
elevator
going to lean
though?
back on this
Okay.
because
Okay.
this is a fun session to talk. So I'm going to lean back. I'm going to bring the microphone in. I'm going to relax on this because it's fun. So as you guys, and I'm going to encourage anybody that has this chance and this opportunity to spend some time, fast forward through it, whatever. But this was probably one of the coolest sessions because one, Mullins owns his own, and I'm
3D
gonna
printing.
actually. This is a pitch. This is
Yeah.
a whole. Mullins owns a 3D printing. He prints miniatures. It's High Table Games, and it's on Etsy. You guys can find it.
We should put his link on the channel. We should put a link to that on the channel.
We should.
Yeah.
And so he's my secret printer when we play live sessions. I line up and meet up with him, or we chit chat through text messaging a couple of days prior to this, if not a week before, knowing that we were coming live. And and this is you're going to get this is the mind behind the madness, so to speak, right? So I have to. And we've talked about this before. You've got a lot of years of role playing experience.
Mm-hmm.
Win has a lot of years of role playing experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's new for Mullins. Sean, he's got some experience, not a lot of years, but he's got years. Nick has a lot of years of role playing experience, and Caleb and Scott are both newer to it.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have been playing since like the mid '80s. Like
same with Win. Win and I started playing together back, right? So 88, 89, 87, 88 time frame. And so the reality is are there actual monsters out there that we have never seen and never fought? And I racked my brain. I dug through D&D Beyond, the monsters there, everything else, and I found one. I found a monster one that I've never fought, which I know at that point in time Wynn had never seen. Now, the question inside of me was, have you or Nick ever seen one of these before either? And so I had Mullins print this character, and I gotta find him again.
Do you want me to? It's too bad we didn't like display him to the camera because we're looking at mostly.
Well, there is one, but it's not as prevalent as I wanted it to be, right?
It's too bad.
So as you guys took out and wiped out that group, you decided to head back to that basement that headed down,
The
and
room
you
with the
guys walked
staircase. Yeah.
right into the middle of a summoning session. There's a cleric, an evil priest there. There's a priestess. There's a bunch of undead. A lot of eerie, basically green water, so to speak. Essence of life is what it looked like, right? It was just green.
Wasn't it like we came down the stairs? There was a small little like entryway.
Yep.
And then basically there was a big old circle.
Yep.
Suspended by like a bunch of chains
Correct.
over like this pool of translucent green, not lava, but like essence.
It was an essence. It was a So it was a big stone slab that was suspended by chains from the walls of the underground, right?
Yeah, and if you fell off, you fell away and then fell into whatever that stuff was.
Correct. And then there was two walkways on here. The walkway you guys came down on, and one that went off to the left up into another building that was made out of the side of the underground.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some other spellcasters in there and everything else. And you guys come in and kind of interrupted what was going on. And as you guys are trying to figure out what's happening, is
they finished the ritual, right?
Yeah, they finished the ritual. And I'm trying to see where we're at here. So this is about an hour and 45 minutes into this 6-hour session. And you know what? It's not showing the camera. There we go.
Yeah, it's 2:13, 2:14 is when we switched to the tabletop.
Yep. So we're playing.
Yeah. And I don't think I switched the camera to like the tabletop until like Scott prompted me, because I was stunned when that thing came in. So it's too bad we didn't get a shot of my face. We probably did actually.
We did. We got a shot of everybody's face. I got to go back and look at it. But if you guys don't know, and you've never done the look, there is a creature called a death kiss. And
say that again. It kind of got garbled.
It's a death kiss, is what it's called. It looks and mimics a beholder. It's got the one big eye. And this is where I made the mistake for you guys. And after I started reading on it and doing some more, it's got a bunch of tentacles with suction cups. Like, think of mouths that look like Venus flytraps, but when it hits you, it grapples you and it starts sucking the essence of life.
There you go.
Starts drinking your blood, right?
I'm throwing it up on the stream right now. Yep. So
there you go.
Yes.
And this thing is gigantic. It is a large aberration, is what it is, and it's the equivalent to the size of a beholder. And they're not super intelligent, but they can be controlled. And these guys, this evil priest summoned it. Nobody knows why. And why he was summoning it, it wasn't just for these guys, but it ended up being convenient that the group that you guys decided to walk into the middle of the summoning. Those tentacles, and I'm going to kind of talk about this guy because when we start talking about him, you guys realize he's a badass.
I'll put him up. Put him
back up.
CR10. We were all like, what, level 6?
Yep, level 6, CR10.
With other baddies in the room.
Yep, with a bunch of other baddies in the room. But you also have to understand, he didn't care who was near him. He grabbed some of the other baddies too.
Oh yeah, he helped us out a bit there.
He helped you out. He has multiple attacks. He has lightning blood, so anybody within 5 feet will take a lightning damage whenever it hits the death kiss with a melee attack that deals piercing or slashing damage. So all of a sudden you're taking a D10 just when you
just
hit
standing there.
Right?
Or, yeah.
Then he has his 3 tentacle attacks, he makes a turn. And you can replace one of those tentacle attacks with a blood drain, which means if the creature is grappled by him, he doesn't have to make an attack. He just drains the creature of blood. And that creature would take 40-10, right? Yeah. Lightning damage, and the Death Kiss would regain half of that hit point. So he's getting stronger. So as he grabbed those buddies, those bad guys around, he was sucking their blood, healing the damage you guys were doing to him.
Smoochy,
right?
smoochy.
Yep. He has a +8 to hit, and he gets a 20-foot reach with his tentacles. And it got sketchy there for a bit because you guys had to worry about him plus the other baddies in the room. But and this is where Galley shot Nenny in the back with a lightning bolt.
Because Nenny was in the way, and there were cultists to be shot, and he dropped him.
He dropped him. He literally almost killed Nenny. So Nenny takes a lightning bolt in the back, unconscious. Boom. Galley then grabs him and drags him and acts like a hero in all of this. I saved you in the reality, and Nenny wakes up.
I gave him the potion.
Goderack shoving a potion bottle, a potion of healing down his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty comical there. Now, where I messed up is I started thinking, I'm like, okay, first of all, there was a lot of table talk going on because you guys were freaking out, right? And I allowed it a little bit, and it was cool because I've never seen Wynn get concerned like I did this game because I've never seen him not see a creature he has never fought before.
Yeah.
Again, when you talk about almost 35 years of playing, not almost, it was 35 years of us playing the game, which is scary to think about, right? We've been playing this game for 35 years. Just think about that. So in the 35 years of gameplay we've never seen a Death Kiss. That was the coolest thing I think I've ever experienced in my life. And watching your guys' reactions and seeing how everything out there. But it was the fact I gave it a mouth. And because it doesn't have one. If you start reading on it, it doesn't have one.
Really?
Correct.
I asked you, I'm like, does it have a mouth?
Yeah.
Like a smiling, toothy mouth.
I went, yeah, because I was thinking Beholder, right? It's a lot like a Beholder, and that was my thought process.
It doesn't. I'm looking at the picture now, yeah.
You guys shocked the hell out of me with this, and when you guys look at my view in the video, I'm looking at you with disdain, right? I'm like, this is going to be a battle of all battles for you guys.
You got to do the whole sequence starting with the gust of wind.
Correct. So if you guys don't know and you haven't seen or paid attention to some of our prior episodes, Kyrus has found a unique use for Gust of Wind. And I will always talk about this because it is very cool.
Because Gust of Wind is a completely undervalued spell, in our opinion now. Yeah.
It can be used as a control tactic in battle.
Mm-hmm.
And he hit this thing with a Gust of Wind. It kept failing its saving throws to make his strength movement.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of stuck and couldn't do a lot. And then
he couldn't come forward and get us, is what it was.
Correct. Yeah. He couldn't come forward to get you guys, and you guys were peppering him with spells, with archery, with all that different things. And then it got to the point where you're running out of spell slots. Nobody can attack. You've got arrows, but they're not doing a ton of damage because this thing had 142 hit points, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
We're not doing a ton of damage, but as things are dying and their blood's flowing off of this platform or their bodies are falling off of this platform into this liquid, the liquid's slowly rising, right? And pretty soon it gets to the point where the people in the room realize you're going to kill them. And so they actually start jumping off the edges and start bringing this water, this liquid, this green essence up. And so there's a little bit of a panic going on right now. And finally, Kyrus basically goes, let's do this. And he runs up and allows the creature to take him, which then allows Godorak to run up and attack with a grapple to climb up onto the creature.
Yeah, now, I asked you. I said, "Can I climb this thing?"
Yeah, and I allowed it. Of course you could. You jumped up there. You made it was a big.
I
jump.
took some lightning damage. I think you zapped me when I climbed
lightning damage.
Yep.
You made a phenomenal roll on your athletics check to make it, and you climbed up, and I completely forgot you guys had this. And so you go, oh, it does have a mouth. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's like a beholder. It has a mouth. And you go, cool. I shove the immovable rod in its mouth and push the button. So immediately the immovable rod keeps its jaw open is my thought process. And this thing can't do anything. It can't bite down. It's choking, gurgling. Yep. It can't move. Right? Because there's a rod stuck there and it can't move. And you guys break free just as the last baddie jumps off the platform and causes.
Didn't that thing grapple me again? I tried to run and it snared me.
It got your leg as you jumped off. It grabbed your leg, and sorry.
In the round after that, I think I got away.
You got away. You guys started to flee. The water, this essence starts getting higher. Pyrus takes off to the building on the side, grabs a bunch of stuff in that building, and comes back. You guys go upstairs, and all of a sudden, the earthquake's happening, the building's shaking, and just think of the sinkhole, right? Yeah. There's this, the beginning of a sinkhole is now starting to happen. But before you guys flee, the woman appears on that platform. She was the Banshee. The Banshee transformed into the former Duchess.
Yes.
And she explained to you guys that the Duke was in cahoots with this evil priest, and they are one and the same. They are both evil. They are both bad, and that she has vowed to forever kill him and his men. And so when you guys wiped the evil out, it allowed her to come down. And so she thanked you guys, helped you a little bit, and you guys got the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then
we took a break.
You took a break.
And then we have Symbiar Sir Robin moment.
Yep.
What happened this session? Yeah, it was good.
So now we're 5 hours into this session. We're at the last hour.
Yeah.
You guys have approached the Duke. You went and got healed. You kind of got yourselves better, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got the long rest because it took you a day to get there. So you guys went back to the city, handed some stuff off to Razband. You end up going back to the Duke.
Mm-hmm.
You talk to the Duke's men and convince them that the Duke is evil.
Yep.
And convince them that he is bad. And once Kyrus approaches the throne and starts talking to the Duke, and then finally challenges the Duke and all the lies the Duke is saying, the Duke just loses it and unleashes an attack at you guys. And just as he does that and that happens, a rent, a rip in the fabric of the universe,
mm-hmm.
and a Balrog steps out. But when he steps out, the first thing you guys, everybody noticed.
It wasn't just the Balrog, by the way.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay. Sorry,
the first thing you guys noticed are a collar that's attached to the Duke and the Duchess, that's with flames that run back to the Balrog's head. And he pulls them and breaks them and basically says, you're on your own. But there were 6, was it 6 or 4?
I think it was 6. Might have been. Yeah, it was 6 because it was, I see 3 and 3.
Yep, so 6 Draconians
were
left behind. And this
Draconians
is
as in like
where
Dragonlance.
you guys realized that the multiverse is happening. That the different planes are starting to mesh and meld, right? And so the Balrog steps through, the Draconians are there. He just he goes, kill them, and he goes back, right?
The Duke and the Duchess were basically his slaves, right, through magical
correct.
means, and he just finally got fed up and like just gave them to us, basically.
Yep. He said, "You're on your own," but he was expecting the Draconians to wipe the walls with you guys, right?
Mm-hmm. So he left, yeah, because he was.
So he steps back through the rift and he closes it, and the battle happens. And this is where people go, "What are these creatures? What your characters are going? What are these things?" And Galley actually helps in this one and wipes out 3 of them pretty quickly with a spell. Then a really serious battle takes place on the right side of the room with
me.
I'm trying to see that, you and Theron. But my favorite part is I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
The Banshee, the help she gave you guys was in a form of riddle, and that's part of the hour. The time leading up to this part was trying to figure out what that riddle meant with the code and everything else, and Simbir
interpreted
it to mean run away. You're going to fight something that's going to kill you. You need to run away. So when the Balrog appears, Simbir takes off like a bat out of hell. Simbir was not involved in this fight at all.
It was a brown streak in more ways than one.
Oh, dude, he took off. He was on his way to Russia. That's how fast Simbir ran out of here. It was hilarious, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Simbir's gone. We've got Galley, Theron, Spike, Godorak, Kyrus, Nenny. All of you are sitting in here fighting.
And the guard, the cool guy, the guard guy. Yeah.
And the guards came in to help too.
No, they ran, but their captain.
Oh yes, the captain stayed. The other guards fled. Yeah. They fled with Simbir. So you guys essentially wiped everybody out, captured the Duke, shackled him. The Duchess spilled the beans, explained everything that was going on because she was a slave herself. All of this was against her will. And she wrote a note and a letter. When this was all said and done, you guys basically said,
we captured the
Duke,
Duke,
going to the king.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the king. We're taking the Duke with us. Things will stay as it is now, and the king will make the decision for you whether or not you're allowed to keep this or not. And that is actually how we ended up wrapping up session 30.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is where there's going to be a talk track on this one as we roll into session 31. This one's going to have some explanations going on. One, as you guys could tell, session 30 was in June, right? So, or the end of May. That was the end of May, wasn't it? I think it was, because June 12th was 31.
What's the date?
So beginning of June, I think, is when session 30 was. And we've rolled into summertime. So we are without character. Some guys, we missed a few nights because of family activities, campouts, vacations, all those different things, right? I always find it better. I can run it when 2 are missing, but I can't run it when 3 are. And then I also have my critical needs people, and you're one of them that I always critically need you here to help run the technology. And so if we don't have you, we don't have a game.
Well, we don't have a stream. You could game, but it wouldn't be recorded. Yeah,
correct. And so we've taken some breaks. So the reality is we've only played 4 sessions since June. Right. And so the other thing is, though, at the end of session 30.
Uh-huh.
That week, Nick reached out to me. That was Mitra's. Nick ran Mitra,
Uh-huh.
and Nick went, "Hey man, I'm not gelling well with Mitra. I can't I can't get into it. It doesn't feel right." And so Nick and I spent 2 or 3 days building Xavier and coming up with the backstory and figuring him out and how to make it mesh, right? And so we plotted behind the scenes, so to speak, to have um, a character change, so to speak, and that's where episode 31 takes place. You guys leave the duchy.
Mm-hmm.
There is a waypoint that you guys stopped at that was between Spire Witch and Jeffrey's Chapel. Uh, Jeffrey's Chapel is the next major stop on your way to Aileen Abbey, which is where the king is of this area.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys stop off at this it's a shrine, the Shrine of the Moon, and there's a yurt there that you guys go into. You notice an elf sitting inside the yurt in meditation, and you guys are cool because there's multiple bunks in here. This is meant for travelers. It's a peaceful
Yep.
stop. Bandits, if they attack anybody here, they get hunted down and die. So you guys all settle down for the night. You start sleeping, and that's when you start dreaming. And you're yanked into the dream plane again. But at this time, you see two aberrant trolls. So if you guys haven't, and again, this is another creature I have never fought before. So I got giddy with these creatures. An aberrant troll has 2 heads and 4 arms. And they've got an amazing regeneration capability. But then as you start understanding what the dream plane is, it's a travel plane for creatures from the different planes as well. So the Gith also used the dream plane to travel between the astral plane and the material plane. So the Gith are in the dream plane, but the unique thing is the Gith were trying to capture these trolls. But Razband was traveling, and Razband was traveling with you guys on this one. I forgot. So you had Razband and Mintra that both appeared when you guys woke up in your dream. Everybody was near something, right? So Godorak was near a Gith. Nenny was near a Gith. Galley was near a couple of Giths. Pyrus and Xavian were near Gith, but Xavian, you guys didn't know who he was. It's just all of a sudden you guys are there, and he was actually tied up at this point in time and caught. Theron popped up next to a Gith, but Mintra and Razband were next to these trolls, and it was immediate. The trolls are fighting the Gith. They appear. Troll immediately attacks both Razband and Mintra, and Mintra's ripped apart, just head ripped off, just pulverized right here, like.
Yep.
And here's the funny thing is, I was going to kill him off eventually in this episode, no matter what. It was either going to be here or sometime later. If he didn't die here, he was going to die later, right? The rolls I made were phenomenal, and it's rare that I roll well when I use my metal dice. And so I brought my metal dice out. I stacked the deck, so to speak, for this one. But Mintra took 100 and something odd damage. He did make a save, so he ended up dying, like in no way, no ifs, ands, or buts. But so did Razband. And you guys continued to fight the Gith. You guys were getting beat in your dream pretty good. And then Razband comes back as an angel. He like magically appears as an angel here and sends everybody away. So the aberrant trolls are sent. The Gith are gone. And he tells you guys to run. Get out of here. Get to the king. You're being chased. Like the planes are starting to merge. Like he's telling you things are happening. Shit's gonna hit the fan, so to speak, right? Yeah. That's what he's telling you guys right now. And so you all wake up, and when you wake up, Mintra's body's decimated here. Like, think alien, right? Think alien, guts ripped out. But Razban's body's gone. Like blood's there, but his body's gone, right? So that's what happens here. And then Xavian kind of looks at Kyrus, and the realization happens that I've been looking for you. I'm your brother.
Xavian says that.
Yep. Yeah, and so the minute Kyrus realizes that, and there was like no like shock. Kyrus was shocked, but he wasn't taken aback. So Kyrus knew the Xavian that he had a brother, right? He knew that, and for you guys that don't know, Kyrus is our paladin. He is.
At the time, he was a Palalock. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Paladoc. There's 2 island nations. One's an elven nation, one's human. Navreen, Navreen. Kyrus's mother is the queen of one nation. His father is the king of another nation. They produced Kyrus out of wedlock prior to his dad being forced to marry. Yep, that was perfect. Right there, you have the islands.
Yeah.
So the top island is the human nation, which is, if I remember correctly, that's Navreen. And Navreen is the top island, and Navreen's the bottom island. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I don't have my notes in front of me. So his dad had an affair with his mother. They actually loved each other at one point in time, and then he was forced into marriage with his queen, and that's where, and so his dad and his mom took basically stock of that, got pissed off, and it took her a while to figure out a way to basically fight dad. And their nation was originally, think about the Romans, right? It was originally ran by the Senate. The leader, the queen, was a figurehead, and the Senate kind of controlled everything like they did in Rome, right? So it was her plotting behind the scenes that got her mother, who was the queen at the time, to disband the Senate. And then her mother died mysteriously, and people think the Senate had her killed, and Kyrus's mom took control. And then,
what?
Strong is watching us. Boom, 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 boom. And so, his mom took over and really kind of hunted the Senate down. There's a group that she leans heavily on called the Sages, and that's where Galley comes into play. Galley is part of the Sages, and he's been tasked by the Sages to protect Kyrus. Now, enter Xavian, who is Kyrus's half-brother. Xavian is full elf. He is the byproduct of Kyrus's dad and his elven queen. And there was a training accident in learning the sword that Xavian lost his arm. And he was never really impassioned about the martial ways and like the magical ways, the scholarly ways. And so his dad tried to beat the martial ways into him and everything else, wanted a strong ruler, blah, blah, blah. Xavian took off and ran away. And he's been looking for his half-brother ever since because he knows his half-brothers ran away as well. So he's followed trails, things about Kyrus across Eiclador, as well as, because Kyrus is, these are both seafaring nations, right? So he tends to hit the ports. He's got a woman in every port, so to speak.
Kyrus does, yes.
And so Xavian's been looking for him. So that's why there was no shock when that happened. So Xavian's been found. They find each other. They start talking. They start, looking at things. But then we had a very cool spire built for Mintra and a funeral, and the pyre was built, and you guys lit it on fire to send Mintra's ashes into the great gnome sky and beyond type scenario. Kairos had a great eulogy. The thing that nobody really noticed when I said it, Scott might have, is the two gnomes actually appeared. The gnome twins appeared and started playing music.
Are there god gnomes?
Well, they're the gnomes that were from the very beginning that you guys met, the two gnome brothers up in the Secor Farms. When Thurgan died, they showed up as well, played music there.
Huh.
So they made an appearance here real quick for a little bit, and they slowly disappeared. But as they disappeared, they did reiterate what Brother Razvan said, which was, "Go, get out of here," type thing. And so you guys did that, and then that was the funeral pyre, the eulogy, all of that was the end of episode 31. Now we roll into episode 32, which took you guys into Jeffrey's Chapel.
Which is where on this map?
So where Aileen Abbey is, if you go up, it's got a little faint mountain right there, just north of Aileen Abbey.
Right
it's kind of right there. Yeah, okay, it's kind of no, south of there. Right there, that one. That little tiny mountain. Yep, right in there. So there's more water that runs down from there. This map didn't pick it up very well. It's all good. So that's kind of where it's at. So you guys get to
cool looking city.
Yeah, Jeffrey's Chapel. It was a cool looking city. You guys get into Jeffrey's Chapel.
Well,
is that it? No. You guys
remember what happened when we were kind of rolling on up with the cart?
So, and he doesn't know what stopped.
Oh, I can hear you.
Sorry, that was the.
You're good.
The
you're good. Yeah, remember the something happened to the Duke.
Yeah, so you guys never. Well, we went to Jeffrey's Chapel. There wasn't not a lot that happened at Jeffrey's Chapel. You guys then headed down to Aileen Abbey.
Oh, is that Aileen Abbey the one with the where the king is?
Yes, the king's at Aileen Abbey.
Okay.
And so, when you get to Aileen Abbey, there's a festival going on. And the other thing, though, is you notice that there's blood dripping from the wagon.
Yeah, because we were taking the Duke to the king for...
Correct.
Yeah.
And you guys realized when you opened up the wagon, the Duke was shredded as well. Just like what happened to Mintra, just what, was gone. So you guys turned around and took the wagon downstream from the city and threw the parts of the Duke into the water. Godorak chucked a boulder, hit the Duke's chest, and sunk him to the bottom of the river.
Yeah.
And then you lit the wagon on fire.
Destroying evidence,
Not Godorak's best lawful good moment.
But
you guys go back in, you find a carnival is in play. And we had a very fun 2 sessions with this. So you drop the horses off, head over to the carnival. At the carnival, there's a lot of different events that are going on. There's arm wrestling, there's boxing, there's a flirting booth there. There's a pie eating contest. There was a drinking contest. Lots of different things that were going on. It was a halfling that owned the carnival. She tends to find and chase festivals and different things like that. As you guys got over to the arm wrestling area, there was a stage where they would perform stuff going on there. Somebody was there playing with a deck of cards, and Galley was there. And as you guys were there, he actually grabs Galley, drops the deck, and has one card in his hand and throws it. And something opens up, a rift opens up, and he shoves Galley through and goes through with Galley before anybody can react. So there's a deck of cards that are laying at the ground. Galley's gone. Nobody knows where he's at. What's happened? You guys kind of freak out a little bit, but you're like,
what are we gonna do?
Anything.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened. And Nenny goes and tries his best Iris Suave moves and hits on the witch and ends up getting a date with her. But you all try to figure out what's going on. And once you kind of went, yeah, no, there's nothing we can do. Xavier goes, I'm going to try to figure this deck out, right? So while he's doing that and looking at things, you guys have the arm wrestling that takes place. And I think who won the arm wrestling? I don't remember.
I didn't. I lost. I just flat out. No, didn't.
It wasn't Nenny. Was it Nenny? You didn't win, but did you, Scott? He's watching, but he's not participating like he usually does.
I forget. I thought he won.
I think it was Nenny the one, or
who? What did Simbir win? Didn't Simbir win something? Because Godorak lost.
Simbir won the drinking contest.
That's right.
He outdrank the dwarves on that one.
Yeah, and me.
Yep, he outdrank you guys.
That's
and
right.
So, and you got out-aided. You won the pie eating contest.
Did I? No, I didn't win the pie eating contest.
You didn't.
I won the bare knuckle fight.
Yes, you ended up in and that's next episode.
Yeah,
in this episode, we have the arm wrestling contest. I think was what took place here, and that was what happened there. We had the arm wrestling contest, the pie eating contest, and the drinking contest all took place this episode. So prizes were won there. They were all magical. They were all cool, little, unique homebrew magic items that everybody won. And then that was the end of episode 32. Now we get to episode 33. And episode 33 was very time consuming, and there was only two events that took place this entire episode. But they enhanced the role playing, and this is what I loved about it. It grew you guys as characters, it grew your camaraderie, and it was pretty cool.
In 33?
The first 33. So the first thing we took on was the bare knuckle boxing. And it was you and Theron.
Well, before Theron, it was that other monk that I unloaded everything. I blew all 5 of my combat superiority die. I blew my action surge, and I blew my second wind. So I was out
all on the draconian monk.
I was out of all my special abilities, and I barely beat that guy.
He was tough. He was definitely tough.
And then you didn't let me short rest, so I didn't get any of that back.
Nope. and Theron, he used his wild shape and took the form of an ape and beat his guy pretty good.
Yeah.
And then you guys got into it, and it was
they put us against each other. I was like, what? I gotta hit my buddy?
Yep. And that's where the role playing came into play pretty good, because it was like you beat him enough that he lost his wild shape, and you're like, go back into an ape, and he changes back into an ape again, and you guys go at it again. And it's when you take it, when you force him where he couldn't wild shape anymore, is where he tapped.
Yeah.
He went, I'm done.
Because I knocked the ape out of him twice.
Yep, you did knock the ape out of him. And so,
and I got that cool brooch, the invisibility brooch, where I'm invisible, but none of my items are, or clothing.
Think of the Invisible Man, right?
Yep.
And so, and then the next awesome session was with Kyrus and Xavian, where it was literally a session of persuasion. And it's something I came up with where they had to look at a female, a woman from the audience. They all applied for this, and then they had to flirt with her by describing a common everyday object. And the role playing in this was phenomenal. And whether or not the persuasion check worked was up to that. And as we all know, Kyrus is smooth like Shaft, right? So he's got the talk, he's got everything he can, and Xavian had a battle ahead of him, but it was pretty cool. It went awesome. We learned that fork is Kyrus' second favorite word that starts with an F and ends with a K. And he flirted and got his way and ended up giving the reins and went and tapping out basically because he found a woman that has an open marriage and he went with her and her husband and he took off. And so Xavian won by default, but it was awesome to watch to have both of them try to explain in a flirtatious way common household products was pretty hilarious, right?
What were some of the items?
A feather duster was one of them. Earrings was another. Bracelet was another one. Fork was the winner. Fork had me laughing. Let's put it this way, guys. I didn't even roll. He had me laughing. I was crying. I have not laughed that hard in a long time.
If you know Kyrus's character, having him describe a fork to a lady without using the word fork.
Yep, but flirting while he's doing it, right? And so that is how we finished episode 33. Now we are going to be caught up here with episode 34. So everybody goes back to the tavern they're staying at. Kyrus is off with his lady and whatnot, having fun. We start the episode out as you guys are having a dream, and it's a vivid dream of being in water and seeing a temple and following creatures and getting attacked underwater and feeling like you're drowning, right? And then just about as you were all about to die in your dream, you wake up. And it was a crazy dream, and you all had the same dream. But you wake up to banging on the door. And when you open the door, it's the king's guard and the king. The craziest part of the session I'm going to transition to.
Mm-hmm.
We have Kyrus in bed with this woman. Her husband is laying down next to him. You guys, I'll leave it to that, is what you guys figure went on that night. As he's laying there, he feels pressure on the foot of the bed. And he knows that it's his patron.
His warlock patron.
His warlock patron. And so his warlock patron sits down on the bed, lifts through the means of magic the woman and her husband up. They're still asleep, dead asleep, lifts them up. They're still covered by their blankets. And he literally tells Kyrus that having his brother there it's in the way of their plans, of his plans. That Kyrus needs to rule both nations, and so he's got to kill his brother. But until the nations are captured, his brother's going to be a useful tool. And that's where as I mentioned earlier, with Kyrus's goodness, the foreshadowing came into play. I guess it's pretty awesome now that I think about it even more with what just takes place right here. So Kyrus basically stands up and says, "Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. If I have to kill my brother, you and I are going to come to blows, type scenario. And then the creature here is that his patron decides he's going to flex himself here, and he tilts the woman and the husband up like they're hanging, basically floating in the air like they're standing, buck naked, blankets off now, and he's telling Kyrus how the humans are weak and frail, and the only reason they have a lot of power is because they're plentiful, like ants or imps. And so um, he goes to snap the husband's foot and didn't get to it. He was getting ready to, and said, like, hey, they're so frail, like, here's this. And he gets ready to go. He's going to flick his wrist and break the husband's foot. That's where Kyrus basically Jedi called his sword to his hand and stabbed his patron. And basically got the element of surprise, stabbed the patron, did 100 and
a lot.
A lot. It was about 170 hit points worth of damage in two swings. Not including what the special features that the sword that you guys have yet to uncover with the sword did to the patron as well. So me knowing that had a possible outcome, but I didn't expect him to go that route, I spent a lot of the day that day researching on what happens if you kill your patron? What happens if your patron dies? What happens if you break the contract with your patron? And the reality is if you kill your patron or your patron dies, if your patron dies, you have a chance to go find another otherworldly patron to take and resume a contract. But if you kill your patron and destroy him, no other otherworldly patron will sign a contract with you or work with you ever again. But you're not just severing the ties, and you're not going to get it back. You destroyed your pact, which means you are no longer a warlock. You no longer have power. So at that point in time, Kyrus went all the way back down to level 2 paladin. He lost all his warlock levels, all his warlock spells, all his warlock skills, all his hit points, everything. 5 levels gone like that.
And if you know when, that's a big deal.
That was a very big deal.
Win likes leveling up. Yes.
There was a lot of power going on. And behind the scenes, there is always teasing and tormenting of me of getting them to the next level because he wants the power, right? And so, worn out, exhausted, weakened, he gets kicked out of the home because as this demon dies, the husband and wife collapse and fall from 5 feet high onto the bed. Husband takes him out. He takes off. He arrives at the inn, meets the king, and the king basically gives you guys the same type of choice that Abakaya gave you. You need to go to a temple that's underwater, recover a crown, and what other artifacts that are there to help you in your conquest of saving the world. Now, you can choose to go there, or you can choose to do whatever you want. But that is where the gods have directed me to send you. And so, you guys head...
Actually, well, doesn't Kyrus go to like some church or something first?
Oh yeah. So actually, 35 has not been uploaded. We do have one more episode.
I'm putting it up right now. It's okay. On its way up. Yeah.
All right. So, Kyrus goes before he heads back. He heads to the temple. The temple here is dedicated to all the gods. There is a section of each of the temple dedicated to each of the gods. So Kyrus goes to Kirstis, the clerics of Kirstis, and begs and prays for forgiveness,
atonement,
atonement, and he is granted his levels back as a paladin
by Kirstis, right? Like
by Kirstis.
They have a conversation or something, don't they?
He talks to Kirstis, and Kirstis literally tells him, "This is your last chance. You've got to follow the path. You stray from the path, I am gone from you forever." So he ends up giving him, if you know the paladins, the true paladins in the Order of the Kirstis, the Knights of Kirstis is what they're called. They tend to have at least one level, if not start to focus on sorcery as well, and it's more of a water-based sorcery than anything else. So he ends up taking. So he's six level paladin now with one level in the first level.
He's my little saving throw aura. I love that guy.
So he ends up getting that back. Everybody gets together. You guys go shopping, do everything you need to do to prepare yourself for this battle that's coming up. And then you guys head to the temple. As you guys enter the underground lair and walk into the temple's sunken. That's the other thing everybody has to understand. Aileen Abbey, as you zoom in on it, Josh, on the map, the ocean at one point in time went up to the mountains. So if you like actually if you take a you were to paint a picture from the water up into the mountain ranges that are there, that whole area was underwater, right? So that whole area is completely underwater. And that's where this temple was at. It was on an island in the water here.
Kind of like that whole area.
Yeah, that whole area was underwater.
Oh wow!
At one point in time, and cool. So and it was on an island near Aileen Abbey, and so when things happened here, and the gods fought, this is pre races, so the halflings were the only race in this world, and they weren't even here. So the temple itself is a very, very old temple dedicated to a very old creature. And through you guys' research and everything else prior to getting to the temple, you think it's an aboleth that was here.
Oh yeah, those things are ancient.
So as you go underground to find this temple, you come up on the beginning of a ruin with an obelisk in it, and you guys hear chanting. And it's Godorak, it's you and Kairos that climb up kind of the edge of the hill there and take a peek over. And as you guys take a peek over, two chuls turn to you and look at you guys. And that is the end of episode 34.
35 is the battle.
35 is the battle. So 35 comes around. On episode 35, we start. And the first words out of my mouth, besides the recap, is roll for initiative. And so you guys get going on 35. There's 6 Miro. 2 of them are priests, and 2 Chul.
Those priests were nasty.
Miro, yeah, they were. One was a shadow priest, which is a Miro shadow priest, and the other one was an actual cleric. Miro cleric. And so I built one out, and the other one is in the monster manual.
Nice.
So the battle it was crazy. But you guys also didn't realize, so you guys end up, things happen. Xavian saves you guys several times over with counterspell. He wastes his counterspells, stopping lightning bolts.
He even used his only 4th level spell slot on a counter spell so he burned a higher level spell slot just to counterspell that last spell.
Correct. And then the Spirit Guardians that was used by the other guy, that could be pretty deadly. I like Spirit Guardians.
Oh yeah.
And so that happened. You guys ended up defeating and beating the Chols and the Miros. getting some items. Godorak spent, Xavion's worn out, and you didn't lean on it, but you crossed it within 10 feet of the obelisk, which then triggered the glyph of warding that was on the obelisk. And it hit you and Xavion pretty hard.
I've got like 63 hit points at this point. I was about halfway down. I was in the 30s. I had like 5 left after that thing zapped me. It was
yep.
And
so Xavion went 0. Xavion was dying.
Yep.
You guys had to save him.
And then
this one is this was, I don't want to say eye-opening to me as a DM, but it kind of made me understand the group a lot more. Because you've got two beefy guys with Godorak and Kairos, right?
Yeah.
But everybody else is kind of squishy.
Yep.
So it's a unique dichotomy that I have to work on in how I approach combat with you guys. Because if you
fight front to back, Kairos and I just stand in the front. Yeah.
If I focus on creatures that are going to beat your tanks, it's going to wipe the squishies. But if I allow it light enough to provide combat that's challenging for the squishies, it's nothing for the tanks. So there's a medium I need to figure out. That's the fun part of being a DM, right?
I think you know what that is.
Yeah, it's an area I need to figure out for you guys, because
I'll give you a hint. Wisdom saving throws or intelligence or charisma saving throws. Ooh, yeah,
I hit you guys a couple of times with those, but it's more on when we get into the physical side. What can I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spellcasters to me are now the great leveler of this, right? Yes. It levels the field for you guys pretty good. Mm-hmm. When you get Galley back, that will be. I think Galley isn't useless like you guys like to think of him as. Not you guys, but Nanny mainly. Nanny mainly, but
remember what Nanny did at the end of the episode? He ran up he ran up the obelisk.
That's right. Nanny did climb the obelisk and fell, and used his monk abilities to stop himself from.
He fell 80 feet and took no fall damage.
Yep, he used his special monk skill.
Because he ran halfway up the thing, grabbed the gem, ran to the top, and then tried to shimmy down and lost it at the top of the obelisk. Was 80 feet up. Correct. But he just slow fell down and took no damage.
Correct.
And he ran up that thing after he saw it zap me and zap Xavion, like, dead, halfway dead. Yep. He's like, yeah, I'll just run up the thing. We were like, you're nuts, man.
Yep, that's Nanny for you.
Yep, that's Nanny.
Craziness. So, and that brings everybody current. So that's awesome. And what this means now is, on the next Lore Masters Nook, we will probably have a chat with you, with Godorak and Nenny.
Ooh.
So
cool. Because we won't.
Stay tuned for that.
Nice.
We'll talk about character thought, background, which Godorak is. That was one of the other things we failed to mention is in episode 30
something.
32, you noticed your old, just a quick glimpse, and he was gone.
Oh yeah,
your old handler.
And I didn't say anything to anybody.
Yep, and you haven't said anything, but you got a quick glimpse of that. So that's still there. That's still out there. And so we're gonna talk about that on the next Lore Masters Nook.
Yeah.
So with that being said, guys, thank you for your time. Truly appreciate it. Go to our YouTube channel. If you haven't watched it, watch us. Get caught up. We're on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. to 10:30, 11 p.m. Mountain Time. We actually encourage you to pay attention, watch. We're getting up there. I know Critical Role is where everybody goes on Thursday nights, but we're a good alternative for that when you grow bored or if you want to change the scenery. Come on over here.
Yep. Smash that follow button.
Yep. Follow, subscribe if you can. If you got that, if you haven't used your free Prime subscription,
Twitch
your
Prime.
free Prime, subscribe here for that,
please.
And look forward to it, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.